Good morning. For this segment, I will be coming to you from here atop the Tower of Power, hoping to find just the right words to make this difficult topic, adjective endings, comprehensible to one and all. Now, the first point to be made is, unless it is functioning as a predicate adjective, all adjectives in German, all of them must have an ending. Now, a predicate adjective is an adjective that is not directly modifying a noun and is used in conjunction with the verb to be or the verb to become or some other such verb that basically says both sides of the verb are the same thing. So, for example, ich bin alt, mein Deutschlehrer ist alt. Okay, there's the verb, the adjective alt. It fits perfectly there, and it requires no ending. It's not modifying anything. It's just, yes, it's describing der Deutschlehrer or ich, mich, but it is not directly modifying it. Und ich werde alt, although it's probably a little late for that sentence for me. I'm getting old. Ich werde alt, it's the same thing. We've got ich and alt referring back to the same purpose. And most of the time, it's one of those two verbs. You can come up with others, but they kind of end up saying the same thing. Ich sehe alt aus. I look old. Once again, I and old, the same thing. Those are predicate adjectives. How any other situation, the adjective will be modifying the noun, and it has to have an ending. Ich habe einen alten Deutschlehrer. I can't just get by with alt. It's modifying alt, is modifying Deutschlehrer. It has to have an ending. And determining that ending is historically just very, very troublesome for students, for many, many students. Many just give up. And in a way that's not, you don't want to give up. But let's remember, if you get the wrong ending on your adjective, it would be a very, very, very rare circumstance where that would prevent comprehension. It would maybe be some very complicated sense, and then maybe even never. It's possible that it could never prevent comprehension. But you do want to try and get them right. And so let's go through this explanation in the hope that it helps you find your way there. Now, normally when adjective endings are taught, you are taught that there are two groups of adjective endings. One group is referred to as weak, the other strong. Another way to refer to the weak adjective endings is to call them preceded adjectives. Now, what does that mean? It means the adjective is preceded by another modifier, like a definite article or an indefinite article, that provides you the information that lets you know the gender in case of the noun being modified. So if I said, for example, der alte Mann an der Ecke ist mein Vater. Okay, der alte Mann, der an der Ecke steht, ist mein Vater. The old man standing on the corner is my father. The word the, der, tells me I'm dealing with a definite masculine noun that's acting as the subject. And that determines the ending on alt. In that case, it's e. That's preceded. The words that usually precede them are definite articles, demonstratives, diese, some other dies word like welche, and very important, ein words, but ein words with endings. We cannot forget there are three instances: masculine nominative, accusative, neuter, nominative, and accusative, where the ein word, mein, dein, sein, any possessive adjective, ihr, unser, euer, the word ein itself, and kein, of course, where they get no ending. In that case, the adjective that follows them is not preceded. It's not preceded by an ending that gives you, that tells you the gender in case of the noun being modified. And so then those would come under the unpreceded category. So the preceded adjectives the ones preceded by a gender and case marker, like Dane or Dame, are either E or EN. And the chart looks like this. I got it here. Here we go. The chart looks like this. Here we see nominative. This is nominative, accusative, dative, genitive, masculine, feminine, neuter, plural. Okay. So they're either E or EN, and notice all the plurals are EM, and then the E's are shaped or appear on the chart in the shape of Oklahoma. If you drew a line like this, it would look like Oklahoma. Okay, yes. So you got nominative, nominative, feminine, and neuter are all E. Accusative, remember, with the definite articles, in the accusative case, der becomes Dane, die and das remain the same. And so it's true for these weak endings too. Der, the E, becomes Dane, E-N, whereas die and das remain the same. They stay E's. And then the rest, dative and genitive, are EN. Those are weak adjective endings. So, der nominative, alter Mann an der Ecke ist mein Vater, right here. And if I said, do you see the old man? Siehst du den, accusative, alten Mann. But if it were the blue car, it would be siehst du das, accusative, alte Auto. Okay? That's the weak chart. E or EM. Preceded. Those are the ones that are preceded by a marker. The strong chart is more complicated, but at the same time, for us, fortunately, very easy. Because it mirrors so well the definite articles. Look at the strong chart. Masculine nominative. Masculine nominative, we have ER, EN, EM. Now here you would expect ES. These things are exactly the same as the definite articles with two exceptions. Genitive, EN, and EN, where you would expect the ES. But I have to say, those situations are so rare. I can go years before I use an unpreceded genitive ending. Genitive is almost always preceded. Literally, you could go years before you have to use that. Okay. And so the feminine we have, if you think of the definite articles, die, der, die, der, no, Dane, all plurals, no, feminine, die, der, and that's what we have here. We have feminine, die, der, er. And the neuter you have das, Dame, and then what are we dealing with? Genitive. You would expect that S, but it's the N, S, E, M, and then the E, N, and the plurals, of course, die, Dane, der. All right, so these strong endings mirror exactly, except for the very rare cases of genitive, masculine, and neuter, mirror exactly the definite articles. So if you say, der Mann an der Ecke ist mein Vater, now how do you use that without making that preceded? How about something like this? Heißer Kaffee schmeckt gut. If it's der Kaffee schmeckt gut, der Kaffee schmeckt gut, and I put nothing in front of it, heißer, Kaffee schmeckt gut. So those are the strong unpreceded endings. Is there a simpler way to look at them? And actually there is. There is. Well, not a simpler way to look at them, but a simpler way to remember what the endings are. So you don't have to go through your head all the time. Oh, it's all of this. Which one do I pick? If a der word, like der Vater, is preceded, this is for the weak endings. Strong endings are easy. You just stick them on just the same as you would a definite article, the same ending as a definite article. But how do I pick E and EN? Do I have to envision Oklahoma? That's how I did it. I envisioned Oklahoma in my head all the time. It's a pretty slow process. Man, you get it done in less than a second, but when you get used to it. But it isn't the best way to do it. There is another way that works very well. If a der word is preceded by R, der, dieser, welcher, then the adjective that follows it gets an E. Then the adjective that follows that der, or that dieser, or that welcher, gets an E. Otherwise, it gets an EM. Den Alten, dem Alten, des Alten. But der Alter. For D word, if a D word is preceded by an E, the adjective that follows that definite article or indefinite article or dies word, that demonstrative with the E, gets an E. If it's preceded by anything other than an E, it gets an EN. Die alte Frau. That would be nominative or accusative. Die alte Frau steht an der Ecke. Siehst du die alte Frau? But if you precede it by anything else, I'm going to help the old lady cross the street. Helfen, followed by the dative, right? Ich helfe der. Aha! My Frau, my die Frau is not preceded by an E. Then it's going to get an EN. Ich helfe der alten Frau die Straße überqueren. And the same thing is true then of das words. If it's preceded by an S, it's going to get an E, and if it's not, it's going to get an EN. Das neue Auto gehört mir. Okay. Ich habe das blaue Auto gekauft. Fährst du mit dem neuen Auto? Because it's no longer preceded by that S, it's followed the adjective ending. The adjective that follows it gets an EN. Okay, those are the unpreceded endings. That's a fast way to remember whether it's going to get an E or an EN ending. All right, so let's see what these things look like. Let's start with preceded. Very quickly, you see it right there. If it's preceded by an R, these are der words. Of course, the thing here to remember is we're dealing with der words. Der preceded, masculine. Nominative is going to be der. It's the R that I want. If it's preceded, if the der word is preceded by an R, it gets an E. Der heiße Kaffee steht schon auf dem Tisch. Okay. Ich trinke den heißen Kaffee nicht. It's preceded by something other than an R, it gets an EN. Ich trinke den heißen Kaffee nicht. Okay. Was machst du mit dem heißen Kaffee? And then des heißen Tees. Or I put Tee there because I couldn't fit cafe on the sheet. Same thing, it's a der word, Tee or cafe. Okay. All right. And then genitive des heißen Tees. All right. D preceded, we see the same thing. Where we have a D, the adjective is followed by an E. Where we don't, it's followed by, or it ends in en. What do I have here? Die kalte Milch schmeckt gut. Trinkst du jetzt die kalte Milch? Und den Dative, was machst du mit der kalten Milch? Das ist die Farbe, weiß ist die Farbe der kalten Milch. Sometimes the genitive you have to create some bizarre sentences. White is the color of the cold milk, right? And we see the same thing here with das. If the adjective is preceded by an S, it's going to get an E. And if it's preceded, remember it's got to be preceded. If it's preceded by something other than an S, it gets an EN. That's very important to remember. If it's unpreceded, not just by the das, but by anything, then it's from the other chart. It's from the what do they call them, strong endings, or the unpreceded chart. Strong or unpreceded chart. So, das kalte Bier ist im Kühlschrank. Suchst du jetzt das kalte Bier? Was machst du mit dem kalten Bier? Alright? And das ist die Farbe des kalten Bieres. Or some bizarre thing like that. It could be Bieres or Bieres, both would be correct, and I couldn't fit the ES on that. Alright. Now, ein words are, when an ein word precedes the adjective, it's a kind of unique situation because ein sometimes gets an ending, in which case the adjective will be followed by a weak ending, just like the ones we've looked at. And sometimes the ein word gets no ending, in which case the adjective is unpreceded. It's preceded by no ending. Then you must employ a strong ending. Then you take your ending off the strong chart. And remember, the strong chart looks like definite articles. See if I can find my strong chart to put here next to this. Yeah, look at this. This will work out. Oops, wait a second. Maybe it won't. Strong unpreceded. Oh, yeah. All right. So here we have mein kalter Tee wird warm. I don't know if that makes... well, I guess that's possible. Mein kalter Tee wird warm. Mein has no ending in this situation. Masculine, nominative, no ending. So the masculine nominative gender case marker is ER. Der Tee. And that's what I put on there. We see that right here if we look at the strong chart. Unpreceded chart, ER. ER. So I don't know, I hope these both fit on there. So you have Ich trinke jetzt meinen kalten Tee. Okay, ich trinke jetzt meinen kalten Tee. Masculine, accusative, en. And then we've gone through it. You see the rest of it. These are the weak endings, right? Was machst du mit meinem kalten Tee? And then again, and that's the S taste in the it would be te, of course. These T's are only because it wouldn't fit on there. Te a, right? And that's te a s. Minus kalten Tees. Once again, das ist die Farbe meines kalten Tees. Kind of an odd sentence, I admit. All right. Now, what about D words following ein words? This is der words following ein words, right? Now, D words following ein words, we never have a situation where the ein word gets no ending. You never, by the way, the ein words, ein, I said it earlier, ein, kein, and all the possessive adjectives. But with D, they always get an ending. So we pick this, I have the strong chart here, that's totally inappropriate. We would need the weak chart. Our choices would only be E or EN. The nominative, meine rote Bluse. The accusative, the same thing. D stays D. Meine rote Bluse. Die, der, if you're thinking of the definite articles for feminine. So you have meiner, and now we're no longer preceded by an E, we're preceded by an ER, so therefore the ending is EN. Meine roten Bluse and meine roten Bluse. And here, das words, followed by strong and weak endings, because in two instances, ein words get no ending if they're neuter, if they're modifying a neuter noun. So what do we have? Mein, no ending, followed by a strong ending, right? Here's the strong or unpreceded chart. What do we have? We have neuter masculine ES right here, right? Mein, what do I have here? Mein neues Auto. Accusative, mein neues Auto. Meinem neuen Auto, right? I'm no longer, I have a preceded ending. It's preceded by something other than an S. It's preceded by the N. So the adjective gets the weak EN ending. Meinem neuen Auto. And then the genitive, meines neuen Autos. Now, just one last little chart to show you. Just the idea of what it is when you have, you got to remember, you can have situations where the adjective is preceded by nothing. By, well, I have two